We're looking for whole-time firefighters based at Douglas Fire Station and also retained firefighters based at Peel.
I do not take my oath lightly. The next 5 years will not be easy. Doing more for less and doing it with police officers who have been bruised by changes to their pay, conditions of service and pensions will be a challenge.
Well, this is an absolute treat today. We've been invited as special guests to join the team who are exploring the mines here in Laxey, and we're doing this interview deep underground.
Every year around the autumn-winter time, we get outbreaks of norovirus. But this year, the virus seems to be a lot more virulent.
This means that until the situation is resolved, then we are going to have to prioritise services. And unfortunately, this means an introduction of a temporary suspension of routine checkups and treatment.
But it's to make sure that MHK sees us when they go in, sees us when they leave for lunch, and see us during the vote.
What we are doing is we're having a look at the existing taxation system to see whether we can simplify it, make it easier for the taxpayer and also for ourselves to administer. Just after just before 2:30 the following day, gives me a letter saying I'm not going to keep that undertaking. I have reneged on it in effect. I cannot trust that person in future.
When you're doing this job as best you can and as honestly as you can, we have the right to change our minds.
As far as the Isle of Man's concerned, what I do make very clear in the presentation is that we have a broadcasting history on the Isle of Man that we should be very, very proud of.
It's not with the diagnosis, it's with the treatment following diagnosis and the tests that are done following that highlighting of cancer in the patient.
I am reliably informed that it takes wood chip from wood which is grown locally, and it uses that wood chip to convert into energy to heat our school. And it's been doing so for a month now with great success, and it means that we are becoming a sustainable school. So we're using, instead of importing oil, burning oil, increasing the fossil fuel consumption, we're now using sustainable energy to heat the school.
And the end result is a database where we can search on every word in 200 years of newspapers.
Here we've got a skirt and a waistcoat, so
it's organic?
Yeah, it's completely organic, biodegradable, completely green.
I actually started auxiliary and we had a green goddess.
We had a really high quality field of applicants this time, and unfortunately there's some people who potentially would make very good police officers that haven't made it through, but we've got our top 10 that are starting this morning.
I did have concerns at the time about the proposal, but when I joined the department, I thought it was right to continue the consultation because you need to hear what the public are saying on these issues, and I think most of the concerns that came back echoed those concerns of mine. And I think we've made the decision now that it's probably not the best place to put an interchange.
It was found that we did not have the right conditions to hold people prisoners in segregation for a number of reasons, whether their behaviour was not appropriate, whether they be punishments, whether they have to be segregated for protection purposes.
We can devise a strategy for the whole of the south of the island, so instead of having piecemeal bits here or there, we can do the whole of the south.
The latest Isle of Man unemployment figures have been released by the Treasury today. The total out of work now in the Isle of Man has risen to a new high of 1,176 people. That's 156 more than last month.
I think we're doing very well. The economy's still growing and the revenue coming into government is on target.
Very shortly, the Clarendon Hotel will disappear as such, and also the Farmers and Pets place, which I fondly remember going there many times as a kid. Both those coming down, but next to it, what was the Douglas will be staying. So the demolition is underway of the Clarendon Public House, and well, we're going to take us through what's going on today. It won't just disappear this quickly. I mean, one day.
No, it'll be at least a 3-4 day operation. We started this morning there, got everything organised. got the difficult bits done with the chimneys. They'll be the worst. Once we get those down, bring it down to that first sill level today.
Yes, it's likely, if it's successful, the trial, to put 8 bus drivers out of work. We turn over about 8 bus drivers a year, so it's the equivalent of 1 year's turnover.
Totally underused, so we've actually rented out every stall, every table, and now we're bringing people in to fill them, and for the next 3 weekends they're going to be different stalls every weekend.
We've had to go through quite a lot of pain recently. Not so much our store, but it's been devastating for the company, not just to enter administration initially, but there's been quite a lot of stores earmarked for closure. We had 66 stores initially. We've lost a ton of head office staff, and then more recently, well, last week, we announced another 37 store closures, which is really sad.
So the end of another iconic building for a lot of people on the Isle of Man, as Park Road School is coming down. We've had a chance to have a final look inside here, so you can see these pictures of various classrooms. A lot of old pupils remember these very well. Certainly, most things have got a new home. They had a sale here and a lot of money was raised for charity. And in the past, this will be when we'd be seeing pictures of the bus drivers leaving the depot to start their strike action. But today, another turn of events. The men turn up at about 4:30 this morning to start their shift, and were told at that stage that they were not going to be allowed in, and they've been left out all day.
There's been calls to build a new passenger interchange just up the road here in Lord Street. And I don't see the need to spend all that money on duplicating a facility. This facility here is excellent. I've just been inside it now. There's half a dozen people in it.
It's very disappointing that we had to come to this decision to suspend trading with Tesco's. But we did say in the beginning that we would do it for a month and see how it went, and then we'd review the costings afterwards.
Yeah, we hope to get 50 people Abseil today, and each person has pledged to raise £100, so we should raise in the region of £5,000, which is absolutely fantastic.
We're going to move along Strand Street, and Regent Street is the work which is taking place at the moment. It's been a long time coming. Lots of business people, for example, have wanted this done for a long time, and I think that, to be fair, the Chief Minister has been on about this for a long time as well. But yes, we're on site now, and hopefully this will make a significant improvement.
Well, it is. When you look at our old clubhouse, I mean, it was past its sell-by date. It was actually an old hut which was used up to build the Kringle Reservoir, and that was during the war years. And when they built that, we managed to get a hold of it, and it served us well for all that time, but it had reached the end of its life, and we had to really start and do something.
So we've been invited into the Ayre to have a look at the amazing scenes around here. Cronk Y Voddy and some places are still cut off, and we can see the diggers desperately trying to make a single path through to some of these people who've now been without any outside contact for some days. I've got to warn you now, there's distressing scenes in this video, and this is what it's all about. We are standing here, literally, possibly standing on a herd of cows.
Yeah, 20 breeding and 20 heifers and few adult cattle as well, like just buried alive and just died alive.
You know, it's the most famous course in the world. You know, it's the longest, hardest, maybe one of the most dangerous. You know, and from being a child watching all the greats ride around here, and a lot of the corners are named after greats. You know, and here you go. Me and Molly now, we've got our own corners on the course, which, you know, like today when I stood by it, I was nearly in tears, to be honest.
Somebody's got to nominate you,
right?
So they did, which is very, very pleasing. And then it's gone on from there.
Let's take you through some of the proceedings. Obviously, here they are, they're turning up now in the car. They've got greeted by all the dignitaries. I mean, quite a turnout there. They had to go greet the mayor and all these people that have taken an effort in getting this thing organised today.
Yes, we've put a lot of work into it because it was our tribute, well, an Ireland tribute to Robin Gibb, and of course they're our famous favourite sons, and we wanted to do the island proud. And whilst, you know, we didn't have the grandeur of the Royal Hall or anything, we had a semi-detached house in 50 St Catherine's Drive, which when I went to school was considered quite posh. So, and I was talking to Dweena on the way in, and she said that Barbara Gibb considered St Catherine's Drive one of her favourite houses on the Isle of Man because it was very modern at the time, you know, and they'd lived above Mailey's, they'd lived at Spring Valley, and of course when they moved here it was quite modern. And so to come back here with the family, and I think it was a very emotional occasion.
And the planning application has been put forward by Seabreezers is, as I say, a mixed-use development where you're going to have offices, you're going to have a retail unit, you're going to have a marine interpretation centre, a hotel, and also a cafe. So I think a very exciting and positive news for Portdown.
We're down here Pier Side in Douglas to see what happened last night. Apparently the Ben McCree had an incident with the landing stage. We've got these pictures you can see, we've just taken these a few minutes ago, of the landing stage, and it certainly looks like it was quite a bump. There's quite a lot of mangled metal there and things that are being pulled out of the berth area.
Believe it or not, there's a complete portable hotel, and there will be some 160 rooms here for the duration of the TT period by the time we finish putting it all together.
The snooze box, isn't it?
Snooze box concept.
The number of votes cast was Dawson, Clive, Philip, 300. Gill, Quentin, Bennett, 229. Skinner, John, Edward, 399. And Thomas, Christopher, Charles, 676.
We researched and looked at what happened in the past, and yeah, I mean, I understand that with the Bay Festival there was a good year and a very bad year, and what we've tried to do is make sure that people understand the level of professionalism that we bring to the table, and we've brought in some key partners for that very reason, names and brands that hopefully people can relate to and trust, like MTV, Ministry of Sound, Alcatel One Touch is our headline sponsor. It's one of the largest foam manufacturers in the world. And yeah, kind of give people the comfort that we're not going to make those mistakes that have been made in the past.